Good morning, fellow option traders. This is Jeff, and welcome to take 3 of the daily scan for Wednesday, October 30th, 2013. The prior two didn't really start out all that well. Okay, so today, very busy on the announcement front. We have the ADP unemployment report and consumer price index, both before the market open, and then the petroleum status report at 10:30. And the FOMC meeting announcement at 2 p.m. where Uncle Ben is going to probably tell us that, well, the economy's not looking real good. I'm going to continue to print $85 billion every month. And watch the market just go higher because there's all that money and there's no place for it to go. But eventually, someday, it has to end, don't you think? And then what's going to happen? Just the thought of it, even if he dreams about it at night, somebody will find out about it and watch what the market does. But I don't think he dreams about it. I think it's just like visions of sugar plums dancing in his head, and that's $100 bills just floating all over the place. All right, enough about him. Let's take a look here at what's going on around the world. Over in Asia, we have a very solid looking bullish day here in Asia, and in Europe also looking very bullish. So it's looking up, up, up all around the world right now. We'll take a look at what's going on at home. And sure enough, right now we're sitting at a pretty solid gap up at the open. We're looking at about 0.3% across the board on all the indexes. Gold is up also to around 1350 at 1348, and oil is down to 97.59. I like seeing that. A little bit more conscious of gas prices yesterday when I was out, and they are pretty much across the board under $3.20 a gallon, which makes me pretty happy, even though I'm not buying a whole heck of a lot of gas because I don't go too many places. We'll take a look at our account, or at my account. Didn't do anything yesterday. Netflix, I was talking about a 1-to-1 risk reward on that trade, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in this video. I had some questions about it yesterday, so I'm going to cover it just a tad more today. It's just a variation. It could be called a chase trade, where you're chasing a position. For example, I have Google up here. Let's take a look at their chart. Okay, so actually we have a nice hook here on Google, but if you wanted to do a 1-to-1 trade on that, you could, and I'll explain that later. But probably what we would do with this one at this time is just do a regular something around a delta of 20, maybe even this 25 one, because we're pretty sure that it's just going to keep moving up, aren't we? I mean, it's looking pretty good across the board. Weeklies, lots of confirmation there. Confirmation on the MACD, even on the intraday. Just nothing but it's just pounding to the upside. Trying to catch up to price line. I think it may have passed price line. I'm not sure. What is price line at? 1069. Google's at 1036. Yeah, I think it's trying to catch up to price line. Alright, I digress. I'm moving away here. VIX trade is still nothing happening there, but we got a lot of time. We have the 4th Friday in November, which is, where can I get a calendar here? The calendar is the 22nd of November. So, we have a lot of time, almost a full 4 weeks for that one to work itself out, and we'll see if that does work out. And then gold covered call, that's the only other position that we have here at this time. And we're just waiting for that one to see what happens. and I think we're doing pretty good with that. Well, a little bit later on, if I have to make a decision on it as I watch it, we'll bring up that spreadsheet and we'll play around with it and see what we come up with. Alright, let's just cover right now the one-to-one trades. And here's the way that I sometimes look at it, or we all could look at it this way. First thing I want to do is we're looking at the money strike. So I'm just going to knock this down to, I just want to see 8 here. And that's so that I can quickly run through this and then maybe drag this down a little bit so I can see what's going on here. Then take the spread type and change it over to vertical. And when you do that, you see here we have $5 spreads here on all these strikes. And you can either buy or sell a put. So what we're going to be looking for, of course, is everything is kind of bullish right now. So we're going to be looking at bull puts. So we're going to be looking over on the put side here. And this is telling us what the bid and ask is. And price line right now is really not looking all that well. If we were to sell this spread, we would collect $1 for it, and that means that we would have $4 at risk. So when I talk about one-to-one, I'm looking at I'm looking for $2.50 here. There's something wrong here. Let's see here, vertical. I don't think that's right. Let me see if this plays out here. Let's say we want to sell a vertical here. Well, it pops up right at 250. That's the midpoint. That's what's going on. Okay, so the midpoint on this particular trade is 250. So let's say we wanted to sell a vertical here, $2.40. You can see it down here. Let me bring this back up again. So you have to kind of like run this through your head quickly to see what is the midpoint here. Almost always at the money. Almost always at the money. You're going to have a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio on a lot of these positions. So here's what we're looking. This is how I would look at it. It's one way to look at it anyway. I usually don't look at it this way. I usually look for a strong mover, and in this case I'm thinking that Google's a really strong mover, and the midpoint here at 135, 140 is exactly $2.50. So we're actually going short at 140, and that's probably okay right now based on this bid and ask. And it's right around 142 or something like that, so that would probably be a good trade. Now sometimes you may need a little bit of time. Let's talk about time, because we have 3 trading days before we want this to be above 140, and that's entirely possible if you were to draw a trend line up here. Even if you were to put a channel in here, the midpoint of the channel easily rises above 140 by Friday. So that's what I'm talking about, the 1-to-1 risk-reward trade. And I call them a chase trade because in a lot of cases, let's look at Apple. In a lot of cases, it's not in a position for us to enter with our normal, didn't have a very good day yesterday, did it? With our normal entry down here using the stochastic, where we want it to come down preferably below 20 and then hook back up, and that's when we get in. It gives us, from a price perspective, what they call a flag pattern, which is, this is the pole and this would be the flag down here. But it takes a couple of days. You need at least 2 or 3 bars for that to develop. Here's a flag here. if you were to do free-handed drawing, you would call this the pole, and then this would be the flag. So it kind of looks like a flag here. Here's the pole, here's the flag, and that is called a bull flag because it's in an upward trend. Alright, so I need to get rid of these. I'll get rid of those later, don't worry about it. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, the one-to-one trades. Now, I wouldn't do it on Amazon, of course not. And I wouldn't do it on anything that has earnings coming up either. So let's look at Amazon as an example. I would not do it on that because it's not trending up right now, even though the moving average, etc., is trending up. It's just trying to catch up with price because of this big gap. I just strictly look at the candles, and I'm looking for price to be moving up, and it's not doing it. So I think that, like Google is a good example, and Priceline is also, I think, a good example. So let's take a look at Priceline. All right, here we have our 240 and our short strike is at 1070. So it's not really trending up right now. I don't know. I wouldn't feel real comfortable with that. We have things looking like it might be running out of gas. So I wouldn't do that. I would do Google though. And then yesterday we looked at Netflix, and the alert went off, and when I came to look at it, this candle here, this green candle, was still starting to form, and it was down here. So it gapped up a little bit at the open from where it was down here at the close to where it is up here at the open, and it was pulling back, and I took a pass on it. But what looks even more promising right now is Google. And my mistake on Netflix, actually, we were looking to do a one-to-one to the downside, and it was moving up when I went to take a look at it. So our alert triggered down here, and then I saw that it was starting to move up. Sorry about that. I forgot exactly what I was looking at yesterday. It happens. That happens. Okay. Let's run through anything. If you have any questions about the one-to-one, basically on a $5 spread, I'm just looking for an at-the-money trade in the direction of the current price movement that, I'm going to bet $2.50 to make $2.50 on a $5 spread. On a $1 spread, I'd be looking for 50 cents, but I probably wouldn't do a $1 spread, even on like SPY or any of those, DIA, anything that has a dollar spread that's kind of up there in price, like over $100, I would still spread it out to maybe $3 and then look for $1.50 to make $1.50. So that's what I'm talking about with the one-to-one spreads. Okay, so let's get over to our A+ list and do our scan. All right, Apple. Oh, yeah, this is kind of a freaky looking day here for Apple. We're just going to see what happens here. I think Apple might be in a little bit of trouble, especially from a news perspective. This may be a candidate for a one-to-one split on the bull put side. Or, the bear call side, which would be here. And you see the spread is pretty tight here, so we're probably going to easily get a 250 on that. And we actually tad better. So that means that by Friday we would be looking for Apple to be below 515. And that's entirely possible because we're just a tad above 515 right now. So if this continues, didn't look like a very good day, just a steady march down. So that's what we would be looking for on Apple. I'm going to make a note of that. All right. Otherwise, we're just going to wait for that one to mature a little bit. All right, am I doing anything with this one? Use that as an example. All right, take that off of there. Okay, what do we got going on here? Waiting to see what's going to happen after this huge gap. So it's a little bit too early to even look for a target, but I'll leave the target on there nonetheless. Baidu, wallowing around here. How'd we do? $14.42 versus $1.47 actual. What happened? Oh, we have big gaps, so we're going to have a gap up this morning on Baidu. I'm not touching that one at the moment, and this may be up there for a one-to-one play. We'll have to see if it continues, and it might be a overnighter also. And the one-to-ones is what I use for the overnight trades as well. Celgene, we're down here in a target. It looks like we might get a hook. Let's see what happens. We need another day on that one at least. CF. I take the charts off there. It's calling for too much data. CF. Glad we didn't jump in on this one. Well, we have earnings next week, so we're not going to be doing anything with that one. Chipotle. It might be running out of gas. We have a little bit of a hook down here on the weekly. And strangely enough, momentum is coming rapidly out of it. Well, let's see what happens. Google, it can always turn around. It just doesn't mean that everything's not guaranteed to continue. We have a nice hookup on Google, so we might be going double on this with a one-to-one and a regular 20 delta trade. So I'm throwing an alert in on here. And my fan's running like crazy here. Come on, let's go. There. Moving right along. I'm just trying to rush through this here so I can keep this video sort of short. Goldman Sachs still waiting. It's just a little choppy in here. Not really liking that very much. Look at this. This is weekly is just incredibly choppy. This might be a good time to do the high end of an iron condor on this. I might look at that later. And if I do something on that, that would definitely be a November expiration. See how high we can get. Alright, let's change this back to single and go to 14. Okay, how high can we get right now for regular November expiration? Not really. Oh man, that looks like dookie. Oh geez, that's ugly. Why would I want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. If I can't get, I mean, I was hoping to maybe get 175 or something like that, but man, it's just, that's horrible. Okay, well, not interested in that. I'll cross that off my list. LinkedIn. All right, we had earnings here, right? Ooh. I'll bet you. Let's take a look at this chart. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it looks like Apple. Oh, that's great. No, it's not so great. It's nothing. It's just, it's okay. So, yeah. Okay, so anyway, we're in an upward trend here. We'll have to see what happens today and maybe for the rest of the week before we decide on anything here. So I'm going to take this out of there just so it doesn't distract us. MasterCard, relentlessly marching upward, and they have earnings coming up. So I'm taking this target off of here. Don't want to be drawn to that anymore. We'll just take a pass till they get done with their earnings. Netflix. Yeah, it may decide that it wants to continue on. I'm not getting a lot of confirmation here though. Only one confirmation on the MACD, and that's the short-term MACD. The moving average and on the weeklies, everything's looking pretty negative here for Netflix. So I'm not real excited about jumping in on anything there yet. Priceline. Okay, so our simulated calendar, how are we doing? Let's take this off of here. We're flat right now. We're still looking at this. This is moving well above 2,000, but after earnings, it's going to just drop down maybe to 1,000. But we're willing to risk everything on this simulated trade. All $220 that we paid for this calendar, just to see how it works out. From a regular perspective, though, we're looking to see if we can get a hook up here. So that one needs to simmer a tad longer. SPX, I did not pull off a trade on that yesterday either. I probably should have. Is it too late to do a weekly? Let's see here. We're looking for like a 1755. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I don't know how much money we would get for 65 cents. That's not too bad either. I'm going to put an alert on it to remind me to get in here. I'll probably do one this week, today. Yeah. And we'll wait for that one to give us, have that alert trigger. Tesla, we're going to take a look at that and see what it was doing. Wow. It's a pretty big dump at the open. See, we were interested because it dropped below its 50. We wanted to know if it was going to do. I know one instructor called this a rubber band trade, where it just like falls through here, and the 50 MA kind of acts as a rubber band or a rubber membrane, I guess, or a trampoline, and it dips down and then it snaps back up. So that may happen with this, but we have earnings. So is this going to be support? I'm going to draw a line in here that will give us support. And let's see, we will call it support with a question mark, of course. Alright, so there we are. Let's see if that works out. And last but not least, and sorry about the length, is Visa. We're still waiting for it to come down and give us an entry. And that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and happy trading.